Should we jump into our next topic?
Sure. Cars spying on us?
Yeah. Okay, do you know about this?
I didn't until I read this thing.
Okay, let's hear about it.
Some car manufacturers, including Acura, except it won't affect my car, GM, Honda, Hyundai, Acura and Honda? Interesting. Okay. I mean, that's the same company, but sounds good. Hyundai and Mitsubishi have optional gamified features in their connected car apps to track the rate the user's driving.
Track and rate.
Okay, I was like, what? Track and rate the user's driving. These are often framed as coaching apps to improve driving safety and award users with points for good driving, which is actually kind of neat. Because driving's kind of boring. So if you can try to do that, that's cool.
I like Waze for that. Like I like reporting things and I get points for it and stuff. It doesn't matter, but
oh yeah,
I like it.
Driving's so boring.
It also tells me when there are cops.
Nice. According to a report from the New York Times, these car companies sell information from these apps to data brokers, which then sell it to insurers who use that in their determination of a driver's premium. Womp, womp. It's like selling your medical data. According to workers at GM, the revenue from the OnStar Smart Driver app is in the low millions of dollars. Further, some GM drivers were tracked despite never having enabled any of those tracking features. One Cadillac owner, who said he was not aware of OnStar Smart Driver, found himself denied insurance by 7 different insurance companies before learning that his vehicle had been sending data that he was often braking or accelerating hard, as well as engaging in some speeding.
Heaven forbid they see my driving.
I was just going to say,
data.
Neither of us would ever get insurance again, which would be a problem.
I would definitely get insurance, and I would never
to work.
And I would never drive with hard braking.
I would never
or hard
get insurance again because my
acceleration.
My discount would bring me to $0 because I drive perfectly.
Yep, and there would be it would break the system.
Yes,
it would break the system, and there'd be no way for him to get insurance.
Such a shame.
Scout's honor.
I just drive too well.
Yeah, me too.
I'd have to go out there and unfortunately intentionally speed in like an abandoned parking lot or something just to be able to get insurance.
Yeah, just to seem human.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Agreed.
According to GM, it shares select insights with data brokers, but customers agree to share their data when they sign the user agreement. Other manufacturers, such as Kia, say they require additional explicit consent from owners before sharing such information. Meanwhile, the Finnish Transport and Communications Agency has detected...
Oh, this is a separate topic.
Yeah,
Let's
I was just going to say,
after.
what?
So let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Remember when I was talking about how this whole 23andMe data breach thing, and I went off on this thing about how anything to do with your DNA is going to impact your insurance at some point if you're American, and you should basically be caring about this a lot. And people were like, yeah, but the laws, and it's like a not insignificant number of people were treating me like I was some kind of tinfoil hat conspiracy nut or something like that. Guys, do you think the law matters to the people who are, excuse me, handling your data? Do you think they care about the law? What punishment is there for this? No one's even talking about that. As far as I can tell, there isn't any. There's no consequences. And
even if there is, it'll be a tiny slap on the wrist.
Exactly. And you've got to understand, like, these are things that this isn't like, oh, one car manufacturer was talking about this and a whistleblower was like, oh, let's make sure this never happens. We got to inform the public. Multiple car manufacturers,
a lot of the biggest ones,
are running these programs and making millions of dollars on the sale of your data.
Yeah. And like my brain goes to like, okay, maybe if they were only allowed to offer discounts based on good driving. Maybe if they weren't allowed to do anything else. But then they just shift the prices up. No. Then what they do is they use an AI learning model and they basically tell it, determine the appropriate premium for everyone. And when the regulators come knocking, they go, well, I don't know how it works. It's a black box. And it goes, oh, speaking of which, couldn't help noticing that you deny insurance to anyone with a certain skin color. Well, I mean,
We have no way of knowing how. Like, that's going to be the defense. 100 times out of 100, they're just going to hide behind.
I just left the train on the tracks.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we don't. I mean,
there is no good way. Keep old dumb cars.
Let's go. Know what? And you got to understand how powerful insurance companies are now. Like, all they have to do is say, well, the alternative is we're just going to not cover anyone in your state, and they walk away.
Yeah, which has happened.
And don't imagine they won't. It's happening right now. People trying to get home insurance in freaking Florida. It's a struggle. It's a huge struggle. And so, you know, you look at this and you go, oh yeah, well, here's the safeguards we could put them. No, as soon as this data exists, it will be exploited. Like, honestly, on the one hand, I was happy to not see Volkswagen on the list because I drive a fancy Volkswagen, essentially.
And they own a bunch of cars, or a bunch of car companies.
And if there was, you know, a short list of brands that I would think are just going to be like, yeah, no, and just be all driving experience all the time, and we'll just charge more for the cars to keep ourselves profitable, Porsche would probably be on that list.
Dodge.
But on the other hand, I don't really trust anybody.
No.
At all. Not when there's millions of dollars at play.
Like, is this even conclusive? Do they know this is all the companies, or is this the ones that they know about?
That I don't know.
A scathing report from the New York Times. So, like, it's possible that some companies just didn't get caught. It's a maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what GDPR thinks about this.
I don't know. I mean, it's possible they're not collecting the data there. It's also possible they're just collecting it surreptitiously and doing nothing with it while they bide their time. Like, that's the thing, is the number of... Okay, you know what? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. If there was a data collection program like this, how many people, like with beating hearts and functioning lungs, like how many human beings would have to know about it? You get what I mean, right? So everyone could know about the gamified thing, but how many people would have to know about this database?
Not very many, because you could collect it all and not tell the people that are collecting it that you're selling it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, not very many. Very few.
Give me a number. Obviously, at the CEO level,
yeah,
you'd have to know.
We're getting into company scales that I'm not used to operating in.
You'd have your top sales execs; they would know. Your top IT execs would know. So you've got at least a half a dozen right there.
And then probably a couple, not top execs, but trusted IT people. So I don't know. You're probably dealing with 20 or less. But again, we're dealing with company scales that I have no real understanding of, so I'm not really sure.
The fact that they're able to tie this to an individual person is mind-blowing to me.
One of my... Sorry.
Like, if it was aggregate, then I'm kind of looking at it going, yeah, what did you expect was going to happen? But the fact that this can be tied to an individual operator of the vehicle absolutely blows me away right now. Like, this is a next-level betrayal.
And a fun little pastime I've been doing recently is looking at surprising employee counts at various companies. And this is part of my, like, I don't really know, dude. Because I'll look at, like, some company that has basically, they have, like, one software function that they make and they sell. I usually find this is in B2B, but they sell it for whatever. They make effectively one thing. It, like, pretty much hasn't changed over the course of, like, 5 years. And then you're like, I don't know, this probably runs on like 5 to 50 employees. And then it's like 1,500. And you're like, what? Like, what do you all do? Like, is this like 20 engineers and 1,480 salespeople? Or like, how does this work?
The Wiley says, it sounds like they're tying it to the VIN, not to a person. And that's fair enough, but the number of people driving a particular VIN is generally going to be in the range of 1 to 3.
Yeah.
I'm talking like, 2 heads of household and, 1 kid, maybe 4, or maybe a roommate or whatever else. You could count them on one hand. And because you're tracking you're tracking the car's driving characteristics, you can probably fingerprint them to a degree.
Honestly, yeah.
Without much effort, because
Yeah.
you probably got geolocation information as well. So, okay.
Because these data brokers, a lot of what they do is, all this information is, not identifiable, except it's extremely fingerprintable, and we buy it from all of the different services so we can tie it all together and build a nice little stack. And it might not be like, we know this person's exact name, although a lot of cases they would. But it might be like, this is information we have on this type of a person.
Yeah. And then this is the type of person this is. So
Yes.
rather than being individuals, you sort them into buckets.
Yeah.
So that's a way to kind of,
And those buckets can get ever narrower and narrower and narrower. So,
but as long as they don't make it all the way to one person, well, then you're compliant.
yeah.
Ugh.
We don't know what the box does.
Yuck. Rob the Tank says, insurance analyst here. Our models are getting really good, so this data matters. What's scary is the next step for the big companies is tying it to financial databases.
What would that mean? Charging based on your income?
That's kind of a scary one.
Is that what that would mean? 'Cause why?
I could see it. So I could see that going a number of different ways. I could see that going to what it sounded like to me was that he was saying that. Shoot, where was I going with this? Grab.
You make money, Elijah. Shush.
Crap. Financial databases. Whatever. There was somewhere that I was going with that, but I forget. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. MCXL says, okay, so they could already charge more or less based on your credit score. Like, oh my god. Why does your credit score affect your insurance rates?
It's like an abstracted thing.
I can't really understand that.
Me neither.
That doesn't make any sense.
I don't think I've ever been credit scored for my insurance. Is that an American thing?
It could be.
I know Americans are more on the whole credit score thing than we are. So maybe.
It's Hurley Time says, insurance underwriter here. Models are getting really good, but the industry has been losing money on auto for more than the last 10 years, at least in the US, which doesn't surprise me at all, actually.
Yeah.
And that's where we got to that point that I was making about how if you try to clamp down on this behavior, they're basically going to come back and say, okay, well, then we're not insuring a single vehicle in your entire state. We're going to just walk away. And you're going to kind of go,
We kind of need that.
because it will be pandemonium, especially in a place where healthcare is covered by insurance, not by universal healthcare, right? It would be like the destruction. People would be afraid to drive if they knew that not only if you couldn't get insurance, and if you didn't know for sure if the other drivers had insurance. Like I saw some people in chat earlier complaining about how auto insurance is mandatory at all. It's like, it's not for you, brother.
Yeah.
It's for the person you
I
hit.
really want you to have auto insurance.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry,
'Cause-
but I actually don't care about your feelings here, and that's a fact. You need automotive insurance because you need it. It's not for you. And it may benefit you, but it's not really for you.
Yeah. It's to cover your butt
Yep.
when you whack into someone else's car.
Yeah. Electrobot says nationalize/socialize insurance. So,
Also, no, to be honest.
as a place where we kind of have this weird public-private partnership
Yeah.
insurance monopoly for automotive insurance, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
I would even go as far as to say there have been times when it's been pretty catastrophically bad. So,
Yeah.
no.